Hey guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm smiling because I'm sat in the studio with Max today. How's it going, Max?
Hello, Alex. Very, very well. Yeah. How are you?
Good, yeah. It's the first time in the studio. What do you
It's
think?
amazing to be here. You got so much cool stuff.
Yeah, well, one day we will have our very own crisp studio with no echo, but I love being here at the parade. I mean, I was walking around today. They're painting the car park at the back here. There's like AstroTurf at the front there. They've got bunting up along the corridors. It looks amazing here.
It does look good. And the view outside of Hormond Hill. Hey.
Yeah, it's great. I love this place. So yeah, that was my way of saying this show is brought to you at Biscuit Studios, the parade. Hey. And joining with us for the second time is Kat Merrick. How's it going? Yeah.
Hello, good.
I said I'd get you on the studio, didn't I? And
you did, and here I am.
Yeah. I'll turn you up a bit.
It was exciting to get out today.
Yeah. So, with the lockdown stuff, have you been like staying in? Like, is because some people have been able to get out. I mean, Max, I know you do a lot of running. So have you been staying in a lot?
Yeah, we go out for a few walks every now and then, but we're a bit hermit-like. I enjoy staying at home, so it's not been too traumatic, and the kids enjoy being at home. But we live quite close to the river, so we have a little walk down there. But when it's rainy as well, we just like kind of get the blankets out and create like a little cocoon. But
why not?
Yeah, but both me and my husband have been working from home, so there's no need for us to be going out. And the first time I did come into town, I was like, oh my God, people are like stepping out of your way, looking at you like you're the plague. And I was just like, I can't cope with this. It felt too much.
Oh, no.
I was in Tesco in Wellington yesterday, in Telford, and it's just such an odd feeling. I mean, they dim the lights. I don't know why they've done that, but the lights are off in the sort of one of the far corners, so it looks dull anyway. But nobody talks to each other. Nobody looks at each other when you go shopping, and it's weird. I feel weird when I don't wear a mask. I feel weird when I wear a mask. It's just it's a strange situation right now.
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, but we got you out here today.
You did?
Yeah. And how's the yoga been going? Because I know you were doing the online videos.
Yeah. Well, we talked quite early on, didn't we?
We did.
And before lockdown came, I was looking at how I can extend the business to take online anyway. So that was always part of my business plan. But more as a course-based rather than just regular classes.
Yeah.
And then when the floods were here as well, gosh, we had that, didn't we, just before lockdown? When the floods were here, I couldn't run my normal classes, so I did a live Facebook class. So I kind of already started that process, and that got me over the fear of doing it. And it went really well. So as soon as lockdown came, I just opened a Facebook group and just started streaming live yoga classes into there. Which was great, because at the beginning everybody's wanting something to do, and I did a kids one with my daughter, so we'd do a kids one every Thursday, and then I'd do my normal Monday evening, and then from there obviously we got to a point where it was like, when's this, are we ever going to go back to normal? And obviously all my Facebook was free, and I gave the option for people to donate via PayPal if they were able to. But then I had to start thinking about, can I sustain a business just by doing lots of free classes, which of course I can't. No. I can't. So I then invested myself into an online platform, some software, so people can book. We got someone knocking above. They're really interested in this. So there's a platform called Instabook where people can book their class, pay it, they can get class passes, memberships. And then that interlinks with Zoom, so then I can do all my classes via Zoom, which the first time I did that was brilliant because I saw everybody's faces. So like Facebook Live was great because I could see comments, but I couldn't see anybody. And you've got the little eye in the corner saying who's watching, so you get an idea of how many people are there. Sometimes I was doing it to nobody, but then people watch it on replay, so that's all right. But on Zoom you can have a proper chat and see them. So it was so I made that move, and that's gone well. I've got 3 regular classes now.
Good.
And I've just done a survey for everybody who's on my mailing list. So I need to shift a little bit because some of the classes weren't working for everybody.
It's weird having to. I mean, I've done a few webinars, seen a few webinars and things like on Zoom, and it's weird having to buy a ticket to go onto Zoom, or it is strange. But yeah, I mean, is that how you work it with the tickets and things like that when people buy your classes?
Yeah, they go onto the link, which is Instabook, and then it's connected into my my business, and then you can get a drop-in class. You can get a 6-class pass, or you can do a weekly membership or a monthly membership. So with the memberships, you then can access all the replays as well of the classes that they can't do, and as well as come to all the live ones. And there's and I've got an on-demand section now as well. So if people just wanted to come and do a class, they can't get to me live, they can just go and kind of buy the link for the record. So I'm doing, like, every time I do a Zoom, I'm recording it and then uploading it. So I've had to learn a lot of things. I've had to learn and adapt, which has been good, because actually that learning process has been something that's really focused me, but also made me feel pretty fatigued.
Have you made any, like, I know you swore then. Have you had any mistakes that you've learned from, like, a certain way of doing things that you were like, oh, that was so silly, why did I do that, or
It's not necessarily big clangers. I did a lot of testing, like the weekend before I launched. There was a couple of other yoga teachers I knew that were doing the similar thing, and we literally were on Zoom all weekend testing it out. So anyone doing that, I urge you to test, because actually that showed up a few little things, and getting the music to play and everything like that. But the other thing is there's the constant need to market then. Like, I need to get my head around emailing regularly and just promoting myself, because I go, oh yeah, I've got people coming to my class, that's great, and then all of a sudden, like, I need to kind of continue that.
It's hard, isn't it?
Letting people know
feels
about it.
so self-indulgent, I guess.
Yeah, it does. But then I'm providing somebody with, and this is again that kind of retraining. What you think, like going, oh, I can't shout about myself. That's just that's just like bigging myself up. But actually, what I teach enables people to feel calmer and stronger, and actually gives them the tools to feel better about themselves. So it would be rude of me not to tell people about it. That's where I'm going to.
When it comes to promoting myself and what I do, I feel bad if I wasn't writing the truth. Well, we do good stuff. And when you're writing about yourself in the third person as well on Facebook, that's a weird one. Al speaks to Cat Merrick about yoga. Listen today, it's weird. But the social media thing is really important as well. Yeah. The feedback from you when you start doing your free classes and stuff, was that a big drive for you? Was that?
Yeah, knowing people that were doing the classes, whether it was live or whether they were catching up, and then putting little comments to say, oh, thank you, I really needed that today, or that really helped. I was like, okay, brilliant, I'm helping people with it. So it felt, and in those early days that really did make a difference, because like I say, sometimes I'd do a class because it was when I could do it, but perhaps there was nobody there live with me. But then as people fit it into their day and went back in and watched it and then put the comments, I was like, good, okay. Didn't feel like I was wasting my time, or I'm doing something that nobody wants. And those little thoughts do come up a lot. You've got to work quite hard to put them to one side and go, no, I'm doing what I need to do. People get benefit from it, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Had a bit of experience with that recently. My microphone sounds weird. Does it sound all right to you guys?
You sound good.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. Negative comments. It's a lesson, isn't it? It makes you take a long, hard look at yourself. Max, you're into your fitness.
Absolutely.
You like your yoga.
Yeah. Well, I just got into yoga through lockdown. In fact.
Yeah.
So I've been running like crazy. I've run marathons in the last 18 months.
Wow.
But through all of that, I haven't done any stretching. So I went on a huge bike ride one morning throughout lockdown and got back home, started climbing my stairs. My back went, my legs went, and I was like, I get upstairs. I can't use stairs. So I messaged a friend, and she suggested that I start doing yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. And wow, what a teacher she is. I haven't got past runners yoga or yoga for hamstrings, but that's all I need.
That's all you need.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow, after 2 or 3 days, my back, full mobility, my legs felt strong.
Yeah.
Just,
It's a really good complementary thing to do with running, cycling, whatever you're doing. I mean, even just normal everyday life.
It boosts the endorphins as well, I found. Just in your body feeling good, the mind feeling good, and just things start clicking into place. Just feels so happy. Yeah,
because you start to regulate. I'm Australian now. Regulate your breathing.
Sure.
And your awareness just kind of turns in, so you start to recognise and listen to your body a little bit. Absolutely. And knowing how it's feeling in certain postures and during certain movements, so you can actually begin to go, that feels like that area there might need a little bit of help, or I need to be careful with it. And as you do that, then everything else, you start to bring more awareness into what you do.
That's great. Yeah. I've also, you speak about awareness, I also got into meditation using Vipassana as a technique, which is body scanning and being awareness of the breath and sensation.
Yeah.
And I saw that you're doing journal affirmation yoga, or journal affirmation meditation, rather.
Yeah, jam. I start every morning with jam.
I should just say jam.
Well, I didn't even realise it spelt that, but as I was like kind of writing it down the other day, I was like, that's jam. That's going to be my little acronym now. Yeah. So I'm like, as I plan out my week, I always put like jam at the top of every day.
Cool.
And some days it's like a 3 or 4 minute. And other days it can be 15 minutes.
Sure, so it's manageable for everyone.
So what is this then?
So journal, affirmation, meditation.
Okay.
And I just have a book and I just kind of dump my thoughts. And whatever that is, great. I just get it out of my head. So if you... Or if I've woken up and I think, okay, this is what I'd really like to achieve today... Before it's had a chance to disappear, I'll just get it out. Or if I'm feeling pretty rubbish about things, just write it out. And some just getting it on paper and seeing that pen move as well just helps to either shrink the enormity of it or help me figure out where it's stemming from, or kind of go, that's going to be something I really do achieve today.
I feel like there's a lot to be said for that, in that you process thoughts in your mind and then you write them down. You either type them out on a computer or with a pen, or even with a journal or a video, and
or a podcast.
Yeah, on a podcast, absolutely.
This is one of the things I've always championed. I always use the term creative vice, because everybody needs a vice, right? Everybody's got something to distract themselves from the daily stresses of life, whether it's fitness, whether it's bad things, good things. I like the creative vice. I mean, writing music, drawing, podcasting, art. These things. So I didn't realise that it could be a type of meditation, because you are you're writing your mind onto a paper.
Yeah, and it just helps to navigate, because your mind is full, isn't it? It's full of like your voice, replaying things, or like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. So it brings you to a point where you can almost like empty your thoughts, so you can forget about them. So then when I go on to the meditation, those thoughts aren't tapping away, going, don't forget about this, don't forget about this. So by journaling first before I meditate, then my mind is a bit clearer, so then when I can just focus on the breath, and whether the meditation is like a visualization or just 10 minutes of nothing, where I'm just trying to focus on my breath.
I need to find a way to decompartmentalize things. Is that the right way of saying it? Because today I've come in, I've got emails from LA, I've got emails coming from a project I'm working on, I've got people ringing me about shows, I've got shows I need to edit, I've got social media I need to put out, I've come in now, I've got 3 books stacked on top of my H6 box here, and they're all full of information I need to access today and do something with, okay? Otherwise nothing's going to get done. So I come in today, I was like, yes, I'll come in an hour early, we get all this done. I've done nothing, because I was sat here going, I'll do this. No, then I'm going to do this. No, I'm going to do. I've done little bits of everything, but not completed one task, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that used to be me, definitely. Yeah. And I still have to battle with that. So I try and write everything out, and then it was I can't remember the name of it. Is it Kanban board? And you have all your to-dos, and then you just have your to-do, your in process, and you're only allowed 3 things in there.
Yeah.
And then once they move over to the done, then you can move something in, but you've got to keep focused on those 3 things.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're doing, you're not skipping from one to another.
And the thing is, we've got a good team, like the Team Biscuit, we've got good people on our team. If I delegated and I gave people little jobs to do, I wouldn't have much stress. I'll be able to get on with things, and the guys would be contributing to the team and feeling better as well. So I need to learn to do that.
Yeah,
because
that's
I
hard
don't.
though, isn't it?
It is hard.
When you, that's exactly like a position that I'm in with the other business at the moment. Like, to delegate to somebody feels like, like, how can I do that? Like, how can I extract all my processes from my head in just a natural way I do it to you, so that it's done? But you've got to let go of that perfection and the control of it.
I'm a straight solid beta. I am the beta. Like, I've always said that. I've always been honest about what I am. I've never been an alpha. So giving out orders for me is kind of like, someone else do it for me, please. I need that alpha. It's really weird. And you did my segue perfectly for me. Your other business, lockdown is coming to an end, hopefully. I mean, there's sparks in America of things, second wave activity going on in America.
Really? See, I'm kind of
100,000 deaths.
doing this, not listening. And
I feel like we're doing things different.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing things different in the UK. I mean, I know people have been swarming the beaches. I know there's been people gathering, doing raves, things like that. But on the whole, if you look at the majority of the population, we're all being cautious, right? So hopefully, we come out of this. So with your other business, it's been in hibernation during lockdown.
Absolutely. Stop dead.
Can we talk about your other business? Tell people what it is you do and why it's been in
So my other businesses really are the Enchanted Little Bell Tent Company, where I hire out bell tents, and I had about 6 weddings lined up, so I provide like festival accommodation.
That's really cool.
So when people want these kind of weddings where they're in the middle of a field, I turn up, put the bell tents up, everybody's got somewhere to sleep, or it might just be for the bride and groom. It can be just as a chill out lounge, and also slumber parties, so in people's back gardens. And also then indoor slumber parties, which is Enchanted Little Slumber Parties, which obviously is still on hold because that requires me going into people's houses. And I think that I know some companies around the country are doing that, but I think for me, I just want to wait a little bit longer. However, I haven't got enough hands to be doing both at the moment anyway. So from this weekend, I'll be starting going into people's gardens, putting up the bell tent, setting it up for them so that they can have either a birthday celebration or just a different get-together.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Do you know, my cousin had a wedding at a festival a few years ago, but it was like 2 days before the actual festival started.
Yeah.
And it was very much like that. It was so good.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah, an amazing atmosphere.
And bell tents are amazing because they're canvas and you've got this big centre pole, so it's high. And there's just even without anything in, because obviously I decorate them, there's fairy lights, there's bunting, there's flower garlands,
cool.
There's rugs in there and low tables, so it looks really, it feels really inviting, but with it completely bare, it's got such a beautiful quality. Something to do with the light, but yeah, I love them.
I do
about
like
6.
There's something really special about being a big tent. I don't know what it is. I really like that. Whether it's festivals or, my best friend got married a few years ago, and they put up a teepee at their wedding, and that was with all the toys. That's where the kids could play. So the kids can go off there into the teepee while we go over here and have a couple of glasses of sherry or whatever it is you're drinking. But yeah, it was such a hot day. The groomsmen in their suits were stood in this teepee trying to cool down because it was really hot. It was such a sun trap. How did you come about this? How did you think, let's do tent?
Well, so it started properly in 2016, but I got married in 2015, and we had like an outdoor activity centre space for our wedding, and we had a marquee, and then there was a field for camping, and we were just like, we don't want to just a normal tent. We want to get something where it feels really special. And I was looking at like gypsy caravans or yurts or something like that. And then that's when I found out about bell tents. And so I was looking to hire one, but all the companies at that point, it was like a minimum of 3. So I couldn't just have one bell tent. And then, so I was like, well, for the cost of me hiring 2 or 3 tents, that's the price of buying one. So we bought one. So we bought one, and I kind of did it out for our wedding night, and then that was in the August, and then over the next few months I kind of like, right, okay, I can now hire this out and do the same. So in 2016 kind of launched that, and that was with 1 tent, and now I've got 6.
Wow.
And I probably would have gone to more this year, and hopefully as well bring on a member of staff, but obviously, you know, it all got stopped. So
that's amazing. I love that. You trying to save money.
Oh yeah, always.
Turns into a business. I love that. There's something
Yeah.
really nice about that, you know.
And it's just grown organically, because I used to be a secondary school teacher, so that kind of just ticked over. And you know, I have no idea about marketing, so I've got a Facebook page, I've got an Instagram. I'm having a website built now after 5 years of not having one. And it just grew, and then every year, you know, people go, say, can I have this many tents because we've got this many guests? So I just kind of add on a 10 every now and then. So there probably, like I say, there probably would have been more added to the stock this year, but
it was a bell tent they had at the wedding. I just looked at the picture now. It wasn't a teepee. It was a bell tent.
Oh, brilliant!
That's, cool. That's the type of tent it was. What was the main attraction to your company for people at the beginning? What were the uses for these bell tents that people use?
It was for weddings, for wedding accommodation. So for the bride and groom, because everybody's now moving towards something a little bit more unique, like either a farm venue or these outdoor venues where you can kind of, you know, have a big party. It's not going to be shut down at 11 o'clock and things like that. So every wedding I've gone to has been really unique. It's either the venue's totally different. So they're just a really easy way to add that accommodation in, or just an extra bit of space. They add in extra space for the children's, like an activity den. And I work closely with Shropshire Event Nannies, so we've always said, you know, if you need kids looking after, I can provide the tent, and Shropshire Event Nannies will provide the nanny, and then, you know, it's all... I think people have got so many more options now these days to create the wedding, whether it's just a one-day thing or a whole weekend, that matches everything that they need. And fantastic. That's what I felt like I did. So I'm really I want everyone to be able to do that. Excuse me.
I think it's great. I nearly said the one thing. Okay, so I like to be transparent and honest. I think what you do is amazing, or I think what you do is fantastic. Is something I say so much on this show. I've edited 8 shows in the last 2 weeks that we've released, and I must say it like 5 or 6 times on every single podcast. So I'm not saying it anymore. It's an anti-mantra. I'm saying it. Don't say it anymore. What you do is
brilliant.
All right,
it's pretty good.
Setting up a tent at the beginning of a ceremony or of a festival or a wedding must look great. When you pick it back up the next morning, I guess it's a mess.
Do you know what? It hasn't been so far, but there is a damage deposit that people have to pay. And probably one of the reasons, because we did, you know, when the business was growing, it was thinking about the direction it was going in. It was like, okay, we're going to do festivals where people kind of arrive, dump their stuff. But then I think you are just throwing them away after. And at the same time, that's not great for the environment. It's that throwaway culture, isn't it? And I didn't really want to be associated with that. And the tents that I have, I really look after them. And so people sign, you know, a waiver to say that they're responsible for them, they're going to look after them, and pretty much they all have been. It's whether that's to come.
Well, do you know what? I feel like
that there probably will be something at some point, but that's why I take a damage deposit, because then if that means it's got to be professionally cleaned.
Well done, buddy, you just bought yourself a tent. There you go.
Yeah, and you know, people pay money for the experience, and it's part of their day. So if it's going to be, I don't think people would be trashing it.
I just see it though, you know, Jaeger bombs in the tent, yeah, you know, people like, but people are dumb sometimes.
Well, I like to think people that are hiring bell tents from yourself are the kind of people that are going to look after the environment.
Yeah, they've made an investment. Yeah. They've made an investment into it,
Yes.
so they wouldn't want to then kind of not get that returned, their deposit returned back to them, just for somebody drinking red wine and then being ill.
What are some of the memorable moments, if you can name a couple, of things that you've supplied tents to, where you've just been like, what am I seeing here? What is this? Memorable moments for you guys?
I don't really get to see like the whole event because I'm there doing the setup. So for me, it's the memorable things have been setting up in the rain or in the wind, or I did a setup on my birthday and it was all of the tents and it was just me and my husband doing it, and it was like there was so many times sat in the car whilst it was just pelting it down and then dashing back out and trying to set it up, and luckily for the wedding day, the day after, it was dry. But yeah, and that was on my birthday.
Because it was like, rolling down.
Yeah.
You see the cartoons where the wind picks up the tent and takes it away. Like
I feel like that's happened to me.
I did. There was a really windy event because I did some tents for. It was like a vintage show down in Bristol.
Yeah.
And it was like a 1940s kind of D-Day kind of celebrations. Okay. So I went down to set them all up, and we kind of used like vintage suitcases and everything like that, but it was so windy and I really thought that it was just going to become a parachute and just take off. So I've learned a lot about, all the different bits of tools and different pegs I might need to take with me. But the tent itself is up in about 20-30 minutes, but then it's the decorating which takes the time and makes
it bit, right?
Yeah, makes it look something else. And it's always nice when people come into the tent and go, wow, this is amazing, and that feels good. Feels good.
You've got you wear the two hats. You've got your yoga and the dance, and then you've got the tents. Do they ever marry up? They're like, we could do a yoga event somewhere, and we got tents.
Yeah, I mean that's what that really was like in the plan, that I'd do some kind of retreat and then I'd provide the accommodation, and I was going to look at venues. I just don't know where that fits now and how soon that can come back into the plan, but it's always there. It can always happen.
Yoga retreat.
I feel like there's so much to be said for that, in like then taking yoga forwards into your daily life and practicing it consistently. That retreat, it would be mega, I feel. Yeah,
and it's a real chance to switch off and detox. Not necessarily detox in a food sense.
As Alex says, decompartmentalise.
Yeah.
Decompartmentalise. It's hard to say.
But put your phone down and your technology down and actually, ground yourself again. We hold so much intelligence and knowledge and intuition about what's good for us and what isn't, but we get that bombarded with external stuff that inner voice sometimes just gets blocked out. So I think yoga can bring you back to that. And sometimes it's you give yourself, like for me, so I have eczema, and for me, if I have too much gluten or I'm under too much stress, then that flares up. So I've got to be really persistent with what I kind of do to take care of myself, and sometimes I'll just let that slide. And I'll know it's wrong, and so it's like, okay, I've really got to do this now. Yeah. But all that just happens.
That's great. I feel like there's so much to be said for looking after yourself, and when you realise like how to look after yourself, that's just mega.
Yeah, and it's different for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's the key.
And as we grow up, it kind of seems like it's a one-size-fits-all, but then I feel like you reach a certain age and you realise, like, hang on a minute, I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I need to look at my diet, or maybe I need to look at how I exercise, or my routine in the morning. Yeah, and even, people's routines, everyone's got to find their own. Absolutely.
And, you can kind of go, I'm going to be in this, get up at 6 a.m. and drink a smoothie and do all this. And then...
Which is great.
You eat your cheese. And if you then thrive off that, that's brilliant. Yes. That's obviously for you. But if you're going, this is just too much for me, and then there's a knock-on effect where you're sleeping falling asleep
It has
at your
to be
desk or
sustainable,
something.
isn't it?
Yeah, so I guess it's a bit of a self-experiment, isn't it? Half of life is that, isn't
absolutely.
it? Finding things that work.
Absolutely.
Well, this is what I was talking about before you came in. We were talking about us because I'm back on keto. Day one, back again. This is the second wave, okay? Because when I was on keto, I lost loads of weight and I was feeling fantastic. Okay, I sacrificed a lot of food that I enjoyed, and we were very unsettled. There's lots going on in my life at the moment that just makes it hard sometimes to go. Oh, we don't have anything in. We're on keto. What are we going to do? So it's just too easy to pick up the phone and ring a Chinese or something, you know. But at the same time, I feel amazing when I'm in ketosis. Like people don't understand the energy that you feel. So it's getting that routine back.
So essentially, ketosis is so your body's burning its reserve fat. Is that right?
Yeah. So your body's eating you. Basically. So.
But it's using your fat rather than your muscle.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So that's how you lose weight on ketosis.
Sure.
But if you go over sort of 20 grams of carbs, you start making insulin again, which is what happens when you have sugar, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're doing, you're mimicking starving.
Yes.
But even though you're not, because you can eat loads on keto, but your body thinks it's starving, so it panics and starts burning your fat.
I think it's very surprising what's actually good for you and what isn't. It's like in a sausage bat, it's not the sausages that are bad for you.
It's the bread.
Yeah, man.
It depends what's in the sausages.
Well, of course. Yeah, we only use quality sausages.
Yeah, good. Oh, good.
Only at the biscuit we use the quality sausages. I mean, the stuff we were eating, like I can have like greasy bacon with peppers. And if you like your eggs, you can have a fried egg as well with it. And like you look at that, and it's like dripping in fat, and you're like, that doesn't look healthy. But if you eat it and moderate it, and you're not, you get exercising as well. This is what I'm going to implement into the second wave of keto.
Great.
Is a bit of exercise. So wish me luck, folks.
But just make sure you get your veggies as well.
Oh yes, well that's that.
I think if you've got a massive side plate of veggies along with your your protein sources, then you're getting all of that. Like you say, like bread. For me, I don't eat bread. I don't eat pasta. Because it's no good for me, but also I see that difference as well when I cut it out. My energy does improve.
Yeah. It's just sugar, essentially, isn't it? When it comes into the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was good last time, so this will be. Yeah. Wish me luck.
You got it.
You got it.
So what are you guys predicting for when are you guys launching the tents again on the mainstream? Because
I've had I started having a lot of inquiries this week and last week, so it really prompted me to have a good look at what I could do and what I'm prepared to do. Because essentially I've still got to keep myself safe and my family and any customers that I'm going to. So I really had, and teaching yoga from my back room through Zoom, I've not really had to kind of think about that. So I had to, I got on the government website and read through everything. I did an infection control course online and looked at what I normally do and don't do and just had to reassess what it is that I have to implement. So I would normally be providing like pillows and duvets for slumber parties, but that's gone. I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm just using like blankets and fitted sheets that I can wash at high temperatures, and the cushions again, if I can't wash them, I'll put them in tumble dryer. They won't be used, and then it's 72 hours between any usage, and I've got like a little box full of wipes and gel, and
it's fantastic to hear you say
it's gonna be like I'll probably feel pretty anxious like going to set it up on that first one, but I have everyone who wants to book me, have a proper conversation, go, look, this is what the situation is, this is how I'm going to do it, are you happy with that, and then can you leave me alone whilst we do it? And so everyone I've had a chat to has been good. And then it's just I've got a birthday party. I've got somebody who's got their sister's hen party that they obviously can't go away on now. So they're coming in, but I also have to think about how many I can do in a weekend.
And that's the new. We were talking when we first started, we were talking about the new norm, weren't we? We were talking about what is going to be the new normal. Is it going to be normal? Are we going to, and this is what we have to do now. Like when you came in, I was like, there are wipes, you can wipe down whenever you like. It's been done already, but there's hand gel over there, and we need to space out. That's it now.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to live life now, I think. Because even when it goes back to normal, people are going to be self-conscious of the space around them.
Yeah. But then for me, I always, because there's always that talk around, are things too sterile for children? So your immune system isn't coming into contact with like regular germs that your immune system develops from. Is there now going to be a whole generation
just rub it in dirt?
that it isn't coming into contact with what they normally would, and then what implications does that have?
Yeah,
there's a whole like once you start thinking there's too much to think of, and then I have to go, no, that's enough. Stop. Just do what you need to do now for your family, for the business, because I was a teacher up until last July. When it came to lockdown, and my accountant got in touch and said, your earnings between both your school earnings were over the 50% mark. So then I've not been able to get any grant from the government or anything. So there was a real need for me to find ways of still bringing in at least a little bit of income.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I do feel for the people that haven't been able to use the furlough system. Or find a way to fund life during this. It must have been difficult, but hopefully after this weekend, 4th of July, everything opens up again. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously this is going to go out after the weekend, so hope everybody's still alive. Hope you behave yourselves, just because there's been a lot of talk about what people are going to do. Are you going to go out to the pub? I mean, Dee was saying she's going to go out. She's got like a full weekend plan of going out and making the most of it. But I'm, for one, will be staying in.
I think I might be. Yeah.
I think this is one I'm going to stand back and just observe for a little bit, because pubs aren't going to be the same. So if people are thinking that it's going to be the same atmosphere, because you can't have music, you can't have sport on the TV or anything like that.
They're going to the bar.
Going to the bar. So it's a really different experience. So does that mean that that's going to be any different from like 4 friends gathering in a garden? To because what are you gaining? I mean, obviously it's important for those businesses, but those people who are going to want their Saturday night, it's not going to be the same, is it?
It'll be a busy night for the
Mr. Brightside on the dance floor.
And don't get me wrong, when it was showing Glastonbury, and I was just like, I just want to be at a music festival in a crowd, dancing, feeling that vibe. And when's that going to be? A couple of years, probably. And
this is the thing, the two mindsets as well. You got I was watching Brendan James's YouTube video. He was doing a walk up the Cop, and he was very nervous about what was open, if it's safe. And I've spoken to him. He's coming on the show at the weekend, and he's adamant he's not coming to the studio. So we're doing it over Zoom because he's nervous about it. Or whereas some people are very optimistic and they're like, "What's up, bro? Arm around the shoulder, hey!" That's going to create a bit of tension especially with things like a bell tent thing. You might sell a tent to a group of people where half the people will be like, "Yeah, let's go in the tent and let's enjoy it," and then the half people will be like, "No, there's germs." And I mean, are you expecting that?
Well, it's the bookings that I'm having so far are for small groups and family groups.
So that makes sense.
Because at the same time as well, if it's going outside of what the regulations are for groups gathering, if I'm supplying to that, then I'm encouraging that. So I'm putting myself at risk. So it is at the moment just for people in their own bubble and all of those things. So if somebody was to like have a tent set up and then invite 50 people over, then I'm sure. But at the same time, if they're doing that when I'm not there, I'm not to know that that's happening. So it's whether they decide, oh, this is for me and isn't for me, it wouldn't have any bearing on me anyway.
Okay, so is it a case of getting them to sign something to say that they're responsible for that? Because like you said, when you're not there.
Oh yeah, the tent. Like I set them up and then I leave. They have the tent for their whatever their celebration is. and then I either collect it the next day or later on in the day.
Nice, cool.
So, yeah.
I love what you do. I think you're great. I nearly said it. I nearly said it. Because you are positive, and this is what I picked up from the beginning. And this is why I wanted to get you on the show, because I was like, finally. I mean, at the beginning of lockdown, everybody was kind of like,
big
Whereas Cat Merrick's like, let's do yoga. Like, I was like, yes, this is a positive voice, and I think that's going to help you a lot. Going forward.
Yeah, I am a positive person.
Yeah.
I would say.
Oh, that's good. Yoga, are you gonna take up?
I absolutely am. Yeah, definitely going to get more involved with it, and it's better to support someone local, isn't it, rather than going on YouTube and looking that way.
Yeah, and there will, a lot of the things that I'm doing in terms of yoga. I'm doing a workshop at the weekend on Sunday all about the hip anatomy.
Okay.
So, for
cool.
like running.
Yeah.
Did one the other week on the shoulders. So for me, the key things about yoga, and this again has changed. So I've been teaching yoga for about 4 or 5 years. And when I first started, I was like, let's see how far we can touch our toes and like what pretzel positions we can get in. Which, for me for my personal practice, because I had a dance background, then that's a real interest to me. But at the same time, the people who are in front of me are very different, and what people want and need, whether they realise it or not at first, they need their body to be strong and to take them into their older age without injury. So you need strong glutes, you need a strong core, you need stable, strong shoulders, not necessarily to get your leg behind your head. So a lot of my focus now is on keeping people strong. And almost like to the point where I'm going strength over flexibility.
Wow.
Flexibility and, finding, like stretching out is important, but there's no point having like your leg being able to get up here if you've not got the muscle stretch, if your pelvis is then kind of moving up and down and you're creating laxity in your joints, because when you get older, that's not going to be helpful. So
there's something I really need to get on board with now before I get older.
Yeah. But you can always make a difference as well.
Yes. Somebody told me that yoga's about the journey to touching your toes, not necessarily touching your toes. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not everyone needs to touch their toes. Like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's not necessary at all.
As cool as it looks.
Yeah. If you're kind of, hang on, if you're like here.
That's all good.
Maybe you need to work on it, but if you're like almost, you're not quite, then it's not essential to touch your toes.
It's frustrating for me because when I was younger, I was really agile, really a skinny, scrawny little thing that I could do all the legs behind my head, all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
And I kind of enjoyed life a little bit, and I filled out a bit. But you know what? I'm very grateful that you're on the team, Max. I'm also terrified because you've got someone that can be like, right, Alex, yoga. Do this, and I encourage you to do that. Kick my butt a little bit.
I will hold you to that. Yeah. We'll go running one day.
We'll do it. No, I'm not going running with you, man. You run marathon after
indoor
marathon.
Indoor running.
I'm going to go do a couple of marathons today.
We'll do 5k.
Well, I'm going to do the couch to 5k. We've been talking that on the USUC team. We've been talking, but we're all going to do that. And speaking of USUC, I mean, look, we were talking about your positivity and why I thought it was really important to speak to you. It helps people. You inspire people just by being so upbeat. We spoke to a guy on USUC on What's the Difference called Kevin Bailey. He's in Georgia. He's a rehabilitates people that have had injuries. So he helps them get their life back. And this guy was just so like infectious. I said, "How are you, Kevin?" And he's just like, "I'm really good, man. I'm feeling really good. I've been doing this today, and we're doing that today, and I love my life. Thank you, Alex." I was just like, "Oh my God,
what a guy!"
This guy, like, it's the first sort of hour of that is not very sweary. There's a couple of sweary things, but if you do need to pick me up. That What's the Difference episode with Kevin Bailey is we had literally I released it and then an hour and a half. So the listener literally listened to it as it was released. An hour and a half afterwards, I got a message off him saying he'd been in a depressed state for weeks on end. He listened to the show and it brought him out of it. It brought him out of the abyss, and he was saying thank you. So what you being so positive and encouraging people to be healthy and help themselves is really important. You know, you
Thank you.
Great thing.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's probably the longest compliment I've ever given someone in my entire life. So.
Thank you. I'll take it then.
But back in 1066, and I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find you guys?
So on Facebook and Instagram, so Breathe Dance and Yoga is my yoga, and Enchanted Little Slumber Parties and The Enchanted Little Bell Tent Company. I'll put links. I'll send you the links, and there'll be websites coming pretty soon for the bell tents. So,
do you know what I wanted to ask you, Kat, while you're here? Is so I've been practicing yoga, but not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
How do I find motivation, or at least more enthusiasm, to be doing it every single day? Because I know that I need to, and it does me so much good when I do practice.
So habit stacking. Have you read Atomic Habits?
I haven't.
Oh, great book. Okay, so habit stacking. So when kind of bringing an awareness to your routine as it is, in your day, and then. So, like, say you got up, kind of, you make a cup of tea, you maybe read a page out of a book before you make breakfast. Then perhaps, you could just stack it in between one of those.
Cool.
And at first, it might just be, and as well the night before, like, have your mat out in the place that you're going to practice, maybe with your iPad there, if you listen to music as you do it. And maybe at first it's just getting on the mat and doing a sun salutation.
Okay.
So it's not even or even just standing on the mat. As long as I do that, as long as I stand on my mat.
So intentions.
Intentions, yeah. And then when that becomes just a normal, okay, I'm going to stand on my mat, I'm going to lift my arms, I'm going to, do a sun salutation, and then I'm going to go and put the kettle on, or whatever that might be. Then that's how you can ease it in. But if you go, I'm going to do an hour every day.
That was me, yeah.
But that's going to be really hard, isn't it? Because
it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes 10 minutes, even 5 minutes of pure focused, where you're really present and you're just giving all your mind, all your focus, your body's just purely in that sequence.
Yeah, in the
that
zone.
10 minutes is going to be more beneficial than you going, I've got to do an hour, and then I'm like, I've got to do the shopping, I've got the tea to do, I've got to pick the kids up from school. If that's in your head, then if your mind's elsewhere, then that's not yoga.
Yeah,
you're just
present.
taking a few stretches,
Yeah.
So,
and for someone like me, I'm very unhealthy. And I mean, I used to be really fit. I really did used to train a lot. There's pictures of me where I would have, anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's the old guy thing. I used to bench as much as you. How would you go about getting into yoga for someone that's unhealthy like me, unfit like me? What's the steps you would take to prepare yourself? Because you can't just be like.
Do you know there's so many classes out there. Like Yoga with Adrienne it's just a massive. But obviously, I've got free content in my Facebook group. And lots of other people have got lots of content. So it depends. Do you have a purpose for it, or is it just because you think you should be doing it? Is it to support something, or is it a mind thing?
It's definitely a mind thing. I want to be able to slow time down a bit.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And it's also for later on in life, like you're saying, that journey from now until old age, being strong and not being injured and being able to hold yourself. I think it's really important. I think that really is important. I want to be fit and healthy for my kids when they're a bit older. So that's the goal. I mean, this second wave, it's a real conscious effort of me to become healthy again and fit again, because I used to be, and it really makes me angry at myself because I used to train other people. I used to this is what we're going to do today. People used to meet me at the gym, and we used to do circuits, and I used to help people. So for me, being like this at the moment is quite frustrating.
So you've got the knowledge then.
Yes.
You have all the knowledge. So you need to let go of the feeling of this is what I used to be, and then you go, okay, right, today what do I need to do for me today? So rather than go, oh, I need to do this, but I used to do that, because then your brain's going back into the past again.
Exactly.
And just for you, just like you're going to look for beginners yoga, and even if you just learned the sun salutations, which is a series of movements which stretch and bend the spine and the body, coordinated with the breath, you could do a couple of rounds of those, and then that would be a nice entry point for you to take it forward. And then if you just commit to being fully present whilst you perform the sun salutation, then that's your headspace, but you're also starting to tune into your body and feel, how does it feel when I lift my arms above my head? Is there any niggles in my back when I bend forward? And without judgment, without going, oh, no, that must be because of this and that and that, but just bring in awareness, because once you bring awareness, then your subconscious just starts to kind of, feed you the things that you need.
And, that's beautiful. That really is nice. And, what you were saying about endorphins as well, I miss that. Like, when you've had a good session at the gym and you're walking over, you're like, yeah, that was good,
Feels so strong.
Yeah, it's just satisfaction of doing that. I do want to get back to that. I mean, my social anxiety is that bad now. I mean, I remember I went to the gym. I was going to the gym for a couple of months and then stopped. But there's just these grunting at the back of the gym. I was just kind of like, I don't like this atmosphere. I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's weird that wasn't me a few years ago.
Finding a gym that isn't filled with that testosterone kind of, if we pump iron, we'll be better people kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah. Or we're better than you because we do heavier weights. I guess it's finding the right environment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the meditation is definitely going to happen, because I didn't realize I was meditating, but I have been meditating. Like, it sounds really weird, but like my routine in the morning is the shower. I like to close my eyes and just feel the water on my head, if that makes sense. For a few minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes I say, and I'm just thinking, and I'll just go blank, just feel the water,
that's being
hear
in the moment,
the water.
being present with it.
Yeah.
Being present with your thoughts and yourself.
And because that's a routine as well, it's that kind of idea of habit stacking. If you are following a routine, you're doing it without thought, so that's preserving energy as well. So if you're implementing these things in the day that eventually become a habit, you're not wasting energy going, I have to do this, and then I've got to do all these steps to get it. And your motivation is highest in the morning anyway. So if you've got those steps, where you go, right, this is my 2-minute meditation, that's there every day for you. And if you take that away, you'll notice you'll notice how much of a difference it's making. So that's great. You've got it. You just might need to then add in another one. Yeah.
Turn the shower to cold, Alex. That's a good recommendation.
That happened a couple of
I
weeks
do
ago.
that. I have a 2-minute cold shower every day. I did a Wim Hof workshop.
Yes.
So there's a guy in Birmingham, Brian Morrison, who was going to do one here at Love to Live. Before lockdown.
I went to Love to Live to use their cold pool outside. I absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah, it's great. And that's a good gym as well, as an environment to kind of not have that grunty. They're great. But I did an ice bath, and we did kind of all the breathing. It's pretty amazing. Like, I was you would not get me in cold water.
I was
ever.
like that.
But again, it was like a real helpful thing for my eczema, because my skin it wasn't red. All the inflammation kind of went down. So recommend it. So you finish your shower, straight to cold, 2 minutes.
And a bit of heavy breathing afterwards. If you find it hard to regulate your body temperature, just focus on the breath and get back to yourself.
long, slow breaths.
You'll be good.
Yeah.
Feels so energized.
Is that whoa?
Watch this space, guys. There are positive changes coming from me.
Amazing.
And I feel like sometimes it's really, really naive to be like, I'm going on a diet, or I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it. And I hate that pressure of being that idiot. I feel like an idiot when I do that, right? Because you put yourself under pressure, you advertise that these changes are going to come, and then they don't happen. But this time, I really do want to,
Yes.
Kat, Merrick, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show
again. We could keep talking for
Thank
ages,
you.
couldn't we?
We could. We've been going for 53 minutes.
Wow.
No,
it's been great to come in.
It's great to meet you.
I'll come
Anytime.
back.
And hey, nice touch with the Wim Hof methods, I must say.
Yeah. We'll have to do we'll get a couple of people on that do fitness and health, and we'll just do like a health episode where we just talk about ways you can improve yourself. And we'll get you on. We'll get someone that
sounds great.
Some dietitian or someone that can, that'd be good. Thinking out loud. Guys, this has been a great episode. Thank you very much for listening in. Make sure you check out Kat's social media details that she gave earlier in the show. The tents sound like a great idea for all occasions, especially the slumber party things. I mean, I know you can't do that much. They can do
They can, I mean, family groups can do it, and I think you can have one member of another family sleepover, but because it's in the garden as well, it's not in the house.
Yeah. Sounds so cool.
They're great, and they just offer something different.
Yeah, I was looking at the Facebook page. It looked really pretty. The little
they do.
Tents, yeah. Make sure you check out Kat's social media for those ideas, and make sure you check out our website too, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. That's lovingly made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. They're great. If you need a website, they do great prices. They're good people to speak to, and they make some good stuff too. So. Thank you very much, Max.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, it's good to get you finally in the studio.
It's amazing to be here.
And Kat again. Thank you very much.
It's been great.
Peace out, guys. Bye.